Hello, beautiful people. I hope all is well. I hope all is well. As you guys are coming into the live stream, I just want to take an opportunity for first thanking everyone who will be joining this evening, as well as make some announcements. So the first thing is, you guys know that I love to pour into all of you as my community. So I have lots of freebies. I want you to click the link in my bio and check out all the free resources that I have available to you. I have free trainings, free ebooks for folks who are going through a hard time, through a breakup, especially during the holidays. Have a free ebook, How to Deal with Being Single During the Holidays, absolutely free. I have my free training From Breakup to Boot Up, talking about how you can remove those soul ties, those painful soul ties, and detach yourself from the relationships that didn't serve you so that you can prepare to get back into the dating scene. And then I also have my free training, my classic, The Partner You Deserve, which talks about how to navigate the dating scene. So please do not forget, I always have amazing freebies that are available for you. All you have to do is click the link in my bio in order to receive them. So thank you for everyone who is joining the live. I have beautiful Cassia. That's a beautiful name. I hope I pronounced that right. Jet Set Alley, how are you? We have Jeffrey who's on the live. We have Mother Jazz. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. S.com. Allie Doll. Lots of Alleys on here. Y'all here for me? All right, Alleys. And then I have my amazing guest who will be joining us in just 1 minute. Okay? Okay. So welcome to the land of love. Again, my name is Alison. I'm a certified dating and relationship coach, and I primarily work with singles in order to help them find the love and commitment that they deserve. I have a bachelor's degree in education. I have a master's degree in counseling. I have a master's degree extension in mental health counseling, and I'm a certified coach with a specialty in dating and relationships. Now, this is not an opportunity for me to boast, but I think it's important because we talk about our Instagram feed, right? It's the stuff that feeds us, not down the throat, but in our minds and in our hearts. So we need to make sure that we are vetting the professionals that we listen to. We don't necessarily have to agree, but we should know and understand that they're coming from some place of formal education or the mean streets, right? Like there's some kind of level of experience that you are getting from anyone that you seek to get advice from or you think is in some position to help and assist you, okay? My last announcement before I let my amazing guest on is that I'm doing something super fly. Now, if you've been following me for the last couple of days, I've been complaining about the fact that I'm tired, and I'm still gonna do this. So I am going to have a free training, a free 6-week training. So all of my free trainings have been on a Saturday, a Sunday, a Thursday night, an hour and a half. I am doing a full-on coaching program for free. Yes, a full-on 6-week, we meet once a week for an hour coaching program for absolutely free. I'm going to be dropping it in January. However, this coaching program is actually for coaches. So if there are any coaches who are following me, if there are any consultants who are following me, I'm going to be teaching exactly how I was able to create my coaching program, as well as grow my following from 4,000 to now 29,500 and something in the last year and 2 months. Absolutely free 6-week coaching program for my coaches and my consultants. How do you get on? What I need you to do is to DM me. Very simply, you're going to DM me free training. You're going to DM the word free training, free training, free training. If you are a coach or a consultant and you want to be a part for not $1. Like, I am not going to charge you a thing. Like, you are not going to give me a penny. Like, nothing. There's no add-on. There's no book. There's no nothing. Absolutely free 6-week training for my coaches and my consultants for absolutely free. Just DM me free training and I will send you the link and all the information. Join if you want to. Don't join if you don't want to. Send it to a friend who's in need. Absolutely free. I'm teaching everything that I've learned, that I've spent thousands of dollars. So remember we talked about, or if you watch my stories, we talk about pouring into other people. So people have poured into me for thousands of dollars. They poured into me, so I want to pour into you absolutely free, dropping in January. I know I'm tired. I'm still going to do it anyway, okay? Okay, so now I'm going to introduce my guest. I have an amazing guest who will be joining us this evening, Miss Crystal Wood. Woods is going to be talking to us about a subject that I know nothing about, which is what I love to do, pour into y'all and share some information. Miss Crystal Woods, how are you, beautiful?
Hey, Alison. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I was just saying before you came on that I feel like my responsibility to the community is to pour into them and to have guests like you that are, I don't know, what you would say, pioneers in your industry, right? Stuff that I don't know anything about, so I'll be learning too. And so I'm going to give you an opportunity, if it's okay, to introduce yourself and what you do, and then we could get to talking.
Yeah. Hey, everyone. I am Crystal Woods. I live now in Connecticut. I have two children and a partner, and I'm a human design specialist. So I actually come from a background in psychology as well. I was on track to go be a mental health therapist, and then I accidentally got pregnant and the trajectory of my life changed, and I ended up finding this system called human design, which was completely new and out there for me. But as soon as I found it, I dove right in. I felt like I resonated with everything that I read, and so I bought all the books and classes, and I hired the mentors, and now I am a mentor as well, and I certify other practitioners like coaches and healers and consultants to learn the system of human design and use it to facilitate really powerful transformations for their clients.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm really excited to talk about this in the context of relationships, because that's really what life is for us humans. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm stoked to be here. Thanks so much.
You're welcome. All right, Crystal. So first of all, when you reached out to me, I did some Googles, I went on YouTube, and it's still over my head. And I like to think that I'm quite an intelligent woman. So in the simplest of terms, what is human design?
So human design takes your birth information, kind of like astrology does, and it tells you, it gives you this energetic blueprint. So it tells you, you know, basically we all have all these potentials, right? All these genetic potentials. And human design takes information, you know, genetic information as well as energetic information, and tells you what is your consistent energy. What are those potentials that are embedded in you that you are now expressing to the world? This is the energy that you give to the world. And it also shows you where you are receiving energy from the world. So from the people around you, even from the collective. Mm-hmm. And so the way that we can use human design is to understand these different energetic dynamics that are playing out, especially in the realm of relationships. Mm-hmm. Really understand like what's going on beneath the surface of these, you know, maybe codependent patterns or different patterns that we see a lot in relationships. Mm-hmm. What's going on energetically? Right? So it's just a different lens to look at things through.
Okay. So you're taking birth charts, and like what other information do you take in order to create this?
So the human design system has been built on some ancient wisdoms like the Chinese I Ching, which is this ancient text. Mm-hmm. Also the Kabbalah tree of life, the Hindu Brahmin chakra system, which most of us have heard of, the chakras, and then also Western astrology. Mm-hmm. And also blends that with knowledge from genetics and physics and more modern sciences. Mm-hmm. So it's sort of like this very layered kind of system. But when you go and you get your chart, it has these 9 shapes with all these lines connecting and all mm-hmm. these numbers inside the shapes. And basically you can think of these numbers almost as like you know, kind of like neural pathways. Mm-hmm. Telling you like your paths of least resistance, the ones that are most consistent for you. And then you can kind of dive in there and say, well, how am I expressing this? Mm-hmm. And so it's all energy. And so there's no real way to say, like some people call it the science of differentiation, because it really mm-hmm. does tell us like how we are different from other people, how we are unique. So I wouldn't call it a science personally, because it's kind of hard to test. Mm-hmm. When you start learning about it and you start using it, especially with clients and things like that, you can see how like eerily accurate it is, and how mm-hmm. it allows you to sort of validate your experience. And it, when I found human design, it was sort of like this breath of fresh air, like all the things I intuitively knew about myself deep down that I had been conditioned to think were maybe like wrong or not enough. It was like very validating that, like, no, indeed, this really is me, and there's nothing wrong with me. It's just maybe I haven't been expressing my personal power to the degree that I could be, if that makes sense.
Yes. So what I'm gathering, again, super simple for me, right? I'm thinking about what I can wrap my mind around, which is like astrology, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm familiar with that. I'm familiar with the charts. I'm familiar with the behaviors that are supposedly associated to my astrological sign. This is way more complicated than that, but there's a chart that I'd be given based on what? So I go in and I see somebody, like, how is this information compiled so that I have my chart?
So there are different websites that you can use. I love to use jovianarchive.com or geneticmatrix.com, mybodygraph.com. So there are these websites that you go and you put in your birth information. It asks you for the day, time, and place that you were born, and then it generates your chart. And depending on which website you use, they'll give you kind of basic level information. I have like a really nice essential, like, free guide on my website that breaks down some of these major elements and, like, what does this mean? You know, what is an aura? What is authority? What are these different elements of human design, and, like, how do we actually apply them? So yeah, it is kind of like astrology, but I would say it's a little bit more layered and specific.
Okay, so I go online, I take some quizzes, I would imagine, I would gather information, and then I'm presented with this chart. You mentioned on the chart it would have like these 9 dimensions or 9 areas, and then different ways that they connect. So then once I have this information, then what do I do with it?
So again, you want to go somewhere, you want to learn from someone that you trust, I guess. Or there are books that you can buy. There are resources online as well, but like you said, it can be really overwhelming, kind of looking for this information. But the biggest things that you want to look at are your type and your authority. So your authority is like your built-in decision-making mechanism. So this tells you, you know, based on your human design, based on these energetic, you know, activations and things you have going on, this is your reliable decision mechanism.
Okay.
And mine is sort of like, to me, the way that I use it is a tool for deeper self-awareness and self-acceptance. That we use to try to understand ourselves better under the surface. And as someone who studies, you know, human behavior and all these different things, it's just like another lens to look at a lot of these behaviors through. Look at some of these different dynamics that are going on and get to know myself on a much deeper level, and also get to know how I'm different from someone else.
Okay.
When we get into relationships, this is so important because a lot of times we're just projecting our own experience onto other people and expecting them to understand, you know, where we're coming from. Really understand the ways in which we are different from another person, or the ways in which they are different from us. I think it allows for more acceptance and compassion and understanding.
Understood. Okay. So you know what I do. I'm a dating and relationship coach. This is what I talk about all the time. And I know that you are, as we said, a pioneer in this industry of human design. So now, how do we combine these? So how do I use the chart and the information I have gathered in regards to my behaviors and why I am the way that I am, and getting insight on who I am, and explaining away some of the intuition I've had about me? How do I use that to now navigate relationships successfully?
I think the most important thing to do with human design first is to use it as a tool to get to know yourself better.
Yes.
So when I learned about human design, I learned that I am a manifester. So there are 5 different types. This is like the most broad, general part of your human design chart. But your type, one of 5 different types, like I said, I'm a manifester, and I learned that manifestors only make up about 8 to 9% of the population. So right off the bat, I kind of felt validated in my experience of just being kind of out, like different, out there a little bit. And then when I learned about, you know, how I have emotional authority, that's my decision-making mechanism,
Mm-hmm.
that with emotional authority, you won't have clarity in the moment. So when I thought about this in the context of my relationship, I had this aha moment about like, oh, wow. So that saying, you know, never go to bed mad,
Mm-hmm.
it kind of doesn't apply to me. I kind of really should go to bed mad because it's impossible for me to have clarity in the moment and have a productive conversation because my emotions feel so big.
Mm-hmm.
Me wake up in the morning to see how I actually feel about the situation with clarity is a lot more productive. So it's just like understanding the way that you operate, and then you can keep going and understand maybe how your partner operates, or if you're on the dating scene and you can kind of on the down low get their birth information and
Mm-hmm.
sign chart, it's a really cool way to kind of predict, you know, it's even a cool way to just communicate in different ways with people. You know, like my partner is a manifesting generator. And so for him, you know, when I would ask open-ended questions, he would get super overwhelmed. When I learned about his human design and I learned, oh, it's actually a lot better for him when I ask more specific questions with specific, he responds so much faster and clearer, and you know, he just responds so much better to that. And so just
Mm-hmm.
little tiny, I get to understand him on a different level and understand how he communicates differently than I do has been
Mm-hmm.
so helpful with my children too.
Okay. So if I have this correctly, in essence, what you're saying is that when you have a better understanding of how your partner functions, or anyone that you have a relationship with, your parents, your children, whoever, if you have a better understanding of how they function, then you're able to communicate with them more effectively so that the relationship can go well, can function, can be happy, can be fruitful, right?
I think we could go even deeper and just say that
Mm-hmm.
I think it allows for a lot more appreciation of the other person, you know, or at the very least, you're able to accept them as, you know, who they are, separate from you, unique to you. And whether they're right for you or not is a decision you make. But I just think it allows you to have a much deeper awareness of who they are. And I think it allows you to have more compassion because their experience is so different from you, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, there are so many personal examples I can think of this, but, you know, even just knowing that my partner is not, he doesn't have emotional authority like I do. He doesn't process emotions in the same way. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so my in the presence of me, he's actually absorbing my emotions and now amplifying them, and it feels
Mm-hmm.
really overwhelming for him. So it's like yet another reason why, in the moment when I'm upset, the way that I address a situation with him is so much different now that I have that knowledge of the way he operates, because it's so different from me. But I
Mm-hmm.
know that I would have known that, or it would have taken me a lot longer to know that. And so I'm able to accept that, like, it's okay that he processes things differently. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes my emotions do overwhelm him. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with me. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with him. It's
Mm-hmm.
just we're different. And so I think that's allowed a lot more grace in our relationship. Just, you know, just knowing that one thing about time.
Okay, that makes sense. So, me being the practical one, right? Not out of the us, but just in life,
Yeah.
in my friends, in my circle, and being the New Yorker, you know that I'm gonna have a lot of questions. So, is there any part of this where folks think like this is an excuse for bad behavior? Oh, it's my human design. I
Yeah,
don't have a say in it. This is just the way that I am.
absolutely.
Yeah. So, what's the conversation around that?
I'm so glad you said that because I do see that quite a bit actually. So, for instance, let me think of an example. Projectors. Projectors make up about 70%, or I'm sorry, 20% of the population.
Mm-hmm.
And projectors, typically, they're sort of open, where they're really absorbing a lot of energy from their environment, and they also don't have this sustained physical life force energy, this predictable flow of energy that someone like a generator or a manifesting generator would have. And so in the human design space, there's a lot of talk about projectors loving to nap and just like needing a lot of rest. And so I see a lot of times projectors, especially, you know, I mentor other entrepreneurs and business owners. And so I see sometimes like, oh, I'm a projector and I read that I should only work for 3 hours a day. Mm. And when you hear things like that, I mean, first of all, anytime I hear the word should, I'm like, immediately there's a red flag for me, because immediately, you know, someone's outsourcing their authority. But the second thing is like, I do see people saying, well, I'm a projector, so I don't need to work, or I don't need to do this, or I don't need to do that. Or someone who is a manifestor. Manifestors typically want to, you know, they want to be in control. And so is that an excuse for you to bulldoze other people? No. But I do see that sometimes people kind of taking their behavior and using human design as an excuse. Like, I can't change it. Mm-hmm. That's not the way that I personally use human design. The way I use it is like, understand yourself better and empower yourself to be, you know, the best expression of who you can be. Mm-hmm. Not this expression of who you are that kind of people or makes excuses for why your life isn't the way you want it to be. You know, empowering way to just get more in touch with you on a deeper level, you know?
Yes, understood. So now let me ask you about the people who they have an understanding of their design. When they go for services like therapy or coaching or what have you, for folks who don't understand this space, do you find that they have a hard time in that regard? Like just dealing with other people when there's like a lack of understanding about human design? Oh, that makes sense.
Oh, no, it does. Okay. I mean, for me, the people that I work with as mentors and other professionals, like, you know, typically they don't have an understanding. I think in an ideal world, like, I would love that. But because I know who I am and how I communicate best, I'm then able to say, you know, I remember I hired a money coach a few months ago to just really hold my hand and get in control of my finances. And she was like, well, what do you need from a coach? And I said, I'm so glad that you asked that, because the way that I operate and the way that I communicate might be a little bit different. And so I described to her, you know, some of the things that I find helpful and some of the things that I know I push back, I push away from. So I said, I feel very averse to being told what to do. So, and, you know, rather than word something this way, you know, I'm way more receptive to what you're saying when you get like this. And so I'm able to sort of inform these people in my life how they can help me best, you know,
Understood.
in an effective way. So I think it's not, you know, it's not a bad thing that people don't understand their human design, but I think when you understand your own, it can help you to help other people know who you are.
Yes. Okay, understood. Now, in knowing your human design, are there people who they don't like the characteristics and want to change them?
Yeah, I see this a lot too, especially because in the human design space, it is a newer modality. It is a newer system. And I think, like, you know, there's kind of limited information, and a lot of the information that's out there can feel a little dogmatic, a little bit limiting, maybe even negative in the way that certain aspects of human design are described. So I've had several clients and students come to me saying, you know, I didn't resonate with human design in the beginning because it was worded this way. But then when you worded it this way, it felt way more empowering. Mm-hmm. And so I think you really have to be discerning, just like you were saying at the beginning of this live, that your Instagram feed is your feed. Like, what are you feeding yourself with? Mm-hmm. If you're yourself with information that feels limiting, then I think it's safe to say that information isn't for you, or that person, the way they teach, is not for you, and that's okay. Mm-hmm. You want to feel more empowered in your life and in your relationships. It's important to find people who help you to feel that way, mm-hmm. and learn from them. So you just have to be really discerning about who you learn from, because some people are going to say things like, you're a projector, you should only work 4 hours a day. I would never say that.
Mm-hmm.
Never say you're this, do that, because
Mm-hmm.
that's limiting.
Right. So
So
can someone change those behaviors? Like, so for instance, again, I'm going to go with the super simplified astrology thing, right? Because I think most people would understand that. So I'm a Libra. And one of the things that they say about Libras is that Libras are indecisive. Like if you have a list of characteristics about Libras, number 2 is always going to be indecisive. Now, I happen to not be indecisive, but if I was and I didn't like that character trait, then I know that I would purposefully make it my business to be more decisive so I could push against this belief that Libras are indecisive. So in that same vein, when we're talking about human design, could someone like proactively change their behavior that is assigned or not assigned, associated with what the chart says?
yeah, so a really cool thing in human design is that a lot of these different things, there are different expressions. So for instance, there's this channel that I have in my human design that in its highest expression, I can really sense what people need and what their potential is. And I have the ability to kind of package something for them and communicate it to them in a way that really resonates and that activates them forward
Mm-hmm.
and really empowers them to make a change in their life.
Mm-hmm.
In the lowest expression, this energy is extremely manipulative. This is like almost kind of like the bro marketing energy, where
Mm-hmm.
like kind of very just manipulative and in a way that you're trying to get something out of someone else.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to teach this system as sort of in a neutral way and explain to people, there might have been times in your life where you might have expressed this energy like this. Now, what we want to do is work towards maybe expressing it like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, for instance, a lot of people who have emotional authority can be very indecisive because they're always on an emotional wave. And if they don't understand what emotional clarity feels like, if they don't understand how to tap into that intuition and really trust themselves,
Mm-hmm.
they're going to be indecisive. So you kind of have to look at that trait, indecisive, and say, well, what's under the surface?
Mm-hmm.
Why are you indecisive? And how do we work with that to help you get closer to your truth and trust that so that you can take action in a decisive way and not regret it or doubt yourself or like get into this space of just feeling really down that, oh, maybe I made the wrong decision, right? Chances are, you being a decisive person, you're like, I'm making this decision and I'm trusting myself no matter what happens. And if I have to course correct, I'll make another decision. We're good.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Kind of like, what's under the surface of these traits? And how do we express it in a way that is more empowering and in a way that does align with who you know yourself to be? Because,
Mm-hmm.
some people might say, well, my indecisiveness is a blessing because I have all this time. I give myself time to make decisions or whatever. Some people might say they like that about themselves.
Yeah.
It's my job to say whether it's good or bad. It's just to say, well, how do we express it in the way that works for you?
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. So, Crystal, we are at the 30-minute marker. I wanted to give you an opportunity to say something that you've been burning to say. I didn't ask you the right question. You didn't get to share this, and you cannot leave this live unless you tell the audience blank.
The most important thing in relationships is to really fully know, accept, and love yourself, because the degree to which you can love yourself is the degree to which you can show love and feel love for another person, like truly. So the best thing, in my opinion, that you can do is really get to know you, all the different parts of you, all the ways in which your past has shaped you, all the different ways in which your energy expresses itself to the world.
Mm-hmm.
And from that place, that acceptance and that love that you can learn for yourself, you can give that to other people. And that's, to me, that's like the whole point of life. So, and that's my job, is to try to help you see things through a different lens that might resonate more with you than some of the other ones that you've looked at or studied.
Okay, understood. I actually have one more question for you. Okay. Other than where we can find you, who is your client? Like, who do you work with? Who do you help?
So I kind of have a couple different parts to my business. So currently I'm getting ready to open up the doors to my certification program, which is for coaches, consultants, healers, people who work with people, service providers, to learn the human design system and implement it into their work for a more customized, client-centered approach.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also have a shop on my website where anybody can go and learn about their human design in a really empowering way and learn how to embody it and start to release some of the conditioning that they have accumulated over the years. So I would say mostly I work with a lot of entrepreneurs who are either ex-corporate, are really wanting to get more into their bodies and more into their intuition. And I also work with a lot of healers and intuitives that want to take what they know intuitively and put a system and language to it. So I'm sort of like the bridge between the two.
Understood. And then Crystal, how can we find you?
So you can find me here on Instagram. I like to hang out here and I love having conversations in the DMs. So if you heard anything here and you want to ask a question, feel free to do that. And then I also have my website, Crystal E. Woods, like my handle.com. And there are a lot of free resources there on my blog. And there's a free essential guide to human design so you can run your chart and learn what some of this stuff actually means for you.
Okay, excellent. Thank you, Crystal. I appreciate you reaching out and being able to share this information. I have to tell you, I was surprised to see in the comments people talking about it and saying, oh yeah, I'm this, I'm that. I'm like, what? I've never heard of this before. So you've opened my eyes to a whole nother community and a whole nother space. So thank you again for joining us.
Thank you so much, Alison. It was awesome chatting with you and your community.
Yes. And I'll be saving this live. So if there's anyone who missed it, it'll be on my page and you can check it out and listen at your leisure. Have a good one, Crystal. Thank you.
You too.
Bye. All right, beautiful people. Real quick before I let you go, I normally end my lives when I have a guest at the same time. But I wanted to tell y'all who are just joining the live, I made a huge announcement. So I've been complaining about being super tired, and clearly I have no respect for myself and I have no boundaries because I have decided to do a free 6-week training. Normally my trainings are an hour and a half. You hop in on a Saturday, on a Sunday, on a Thursday night. We get through the slides. I teach, I work with you, I get y'all together, and I send you out. However, I'm doing a absolutely free, not a dollar, not a dime, not a nickel, not a penny, free 6-week long training. However, this training is for my coaches and this training is for my client consultants. So if there's anybody who's following me, not because they are looking for dating and relationship advice, but they are budding relationship coaches, budding life coaches, budding consultants, and they're trying to learn how to put systems in place in order to build their business. They're trying to figure out how they can grow their following on social media. They're trying to figure out how they can create a coaching program or a consulting program that fits their niche. I am doing an absolutely free 6-week long training. You will never see this from anybody. It is absolutely free and for you. If you're not a coach or a consultant, tell your coaching friends or your consulting friends. Absolutely free. I'm going to be dropping it in January. I have not decided a date. This is something that's been on my mind for weeks. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to announce it today. And I will send the link to join this free 6-week. 6 weeks, y'all. 6 weeks of my life. I get paid thousands to do this. I'm doing it for free, right? For anyone who wants to create a coaching or consulting business, any current coaches or consultants, and I want you to do this so that I can help you to grow your business in your niche. Even if it's my niche, there is enough for everybody, okay? So DM me, free coaching program, I think. I haven't even thought this through. Y'all see that? I got the modules, but I haven't thought, which I would teach you how to do that properly moving forward. But nonetheless, DM me like free coaching program. And then I'm going to send you the link for anyone who has the idea that they want to coach, the idea that they want to consult, or you've already started your practice, but you want to learn how to grow your social media following. You want to learn how to put systems in place. You want to learn how to grow your social media following. Did I say that already? I am tired. Create your coaching program, create your consulting program. I know I'm tired, but it's been on my heart since like October. So I need to do this. And I'll do it at my convenience too. You show, you don't, you don't. So no loss to me. I love to hear me talk anyway. Anywho, beautiful people, thank you for joining. Thank you for being a part of my effort to pour into you guys as my community. When I learn new things, I want you to hear about it, right? Because, you know, sometimes I can be cute and snarky in my responses in an effort to drive a point home. And then sometimes I want it to be a learning opportunity. Nonetheless, I'm going to rest. Have a good night.